The girl gave me 5 seconds. 5 seconds to prove I was a man, or she'd kill me on the spot. But with just one sentence, I made her blush. Cece's cutest punch. Heaven-shattering, earth-crushing, Cece's invincible punch. Turns out, she was my childhood sweetheart from the orphanage, and that was the fist technique she taught me. Pretty impressive, right? A few days ago, I awakened the strongest 6S rank contract talent in history. I could form contracts with any living being and even freely control their body and soul. I thought I'd use it to contract a bunch of girls and start a harem, or bind ferocious beasts to protect me. But later on, I discovered a fatal flaw in the talent. The target had to know about the contract and willingly swallow the contract gem. When people heard that, they laughed it off as the most useless ability ever. After all, who would willingly become someone else's slave? Just when I was starting to give up on myself, my childhood friend Su Jingyao encouraged me like she always did. Come on, don't give up so fast. Believe in yourself. The world's huge. There has to be something willing to let you control it. Those words spark an idea. I immediately swallowed the gem myself. The next moment, waves of green light spread from my body. Sure enough, contracting myself actually worked. Su Jingyao panicked and asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine. Only then did she let out a long sigh of relief. Don't ever do that again. You scare me to death. After that, she got ready to head back to the dorms. She had to report to the patrol unit early the next morning. Joining the patrol to protect her home had always been her dream, and now she finally had the chance. Don't be too sad. Maybe one day, when you get stronger, you'll get to work alongside your adorable childhood friend. I wanted to fight by her side too, but my useless ability had already gotten me assigned to farming duty by the school. Maybe this was our last meeting. I really wanted to give her a hug. The next second, my body moved on its own and hugged Su Jingyao. She was completely caught off guard, and I was just as stunned. Blushing, she pushed me away, left behind a single take care, and ran back to the dorm. I fell into deep thought. Just now, I'd subconsciously given myself an order. Curious, I started testing how much control I really had. First command, take off. Then my brother's signature move, Iron Mountain Slam. After messing around for a while, I confirmed one thing. I could make my body perform almost any action as long as it stayed within normal human limits. No flying, no turning into other objects. What's more, even moves I'd never practiced before could be executed perfectly just by recalling them. In theory, that meant I could master any martial art after seeing it once. But there was still one more question I needed to verify. Soon enough, the next day arrived, and I woke from a deep sleep, only to find myself in the cafeteria, my entire body sore. So it worked. Before going to bed, I'd order myself to go for a 5 a.m. run. Just as I suspected, even when the mind is unconscious, the body can still carry out commands. Just then, the area suddenly grew lively. The reason was simple. The school beauty, Luo Xiu, had arrived. Her stunning looks instantly drew countless gazes. But the moment I turned to look at her, cold sweat poured down my back. Because the school beauty I saw was actually a massive mutated beast. A strip of human skin from a girl was plastered on its forehead, and it was openly devouring food in front of everyone. Yet the other students acted as if they saw nothing at all, smiling at her, as usual. Noticing something was off, Luo Shi walked over and asked, "Zhang Ping, you don't look so good. Are you feeling sick?" I forced myself to calm down, then said I'd had a nightmare and hadn't slept well. Using I've got class soon as an excuse, I fled the scene. But the mutated beast still keenly sensed a trace of fear. Was that just my imagination? After narrowly escaping, I couldn't help thinking, why were there mutated beasts at school? Was I seeing things? Otherwise, there was no way no one would notice. Just as I was about to report this to a teacher, I discovered that the teacher was also a skin-wearing mutated beast, currently feeding on a female student. That horrifying sight sent me sprinting away. Today's experience nearly broke me. Was this place some kind of human hell? Thinking carefully, I realized I only started seeing mutated beasts after swallowing the contract gem. So I swallowed another contract gem, hoping everything would return to normal. The next moment, waves of green light spread from my body again. This time, however, A pool of blood appeared before me, along with the words identifying. When the identification finished, the scene of a man being devoured by a mutated beast played out, then vanished. Had I awakened an identification skill? I looked at my palm in confusion. In the next second, my status panel popped up. That was when I realized the contract gem actually had levels. At present, I possessed 3 talents: absolute command, absolute obedience, and a newly acquired identification. This talent appeared out of nowhere, most likely triggered by swallowing the gem again. Through identification, I finally understood why I could see mutated beasts. These creatures were called Tianchong foxes, whose innate ability was to distort perception. That's why even when a Tianchong fox eats someone right in front of others, all they see are 2 students chatting normally. And because my body and mind were under contract control, I wasn't affected by external interference. No illusion could work on me. All of a sudden, I remembered that Su Jingyao's ability also seemed to be mental-based. Maybe she could help. So after school, I decided to go look for her. What I didn't expect was that the streets were also filled with these things. Just how many of them were there? Before long, I arrived at the patrol headquarters. As soon as I walked in, the receptionist greeted me warmly. "Hey there, little guy. What can I help you with?" I was genuinely shocked, but kept a straight face as I asked, "Is Su Jingyao here? I need to see her." Hearing that, the Tianchong Fox receptionist smiled and told me to wait a moment. Soon, Su Jingyao came out and asked why I'd suddenly shown up. I told her I was just worried she might not be adjusting well, so I came to check on her. Su Jingyao said she was doing great and that her teammates were taking good care of her. But when I saw those teammates, my expression instantly turned grave. Su Jingyao, however, spoke excitedly. She said she would grow stronger and hunt mutated beasts to avenge her parents. "By the way, we're short on people right now. Want me to recommend you to the patrol?" I immediately refused. My abilities are more suited to farming. I then turned to leave. "You seem to be adapting well. I won't disturb you any further." With that, I left, carrying both reluctance and disappointment. Goodbye, Su Jingyao. After leaving the patrol headquarters, I could no longer suppress my emotions and clench my fists in fury. This was a joke, right? Even the strongest patrol unit had been wiped out. And Su Jingyao, she had just arrived today, yet she was already dead. Suddenly, I stopped in my tracks. At that moment, I finally understood. The mutated beast had already infiltrated the entire city. Everyone in Mingzhu City was nothing more than livestock being raised by them. Using identification, I investigated further and uncovered some information. Tianchong foxes were different from ordinary mutated beasts. They were highly intelligent and extremely skilled at disguise. Their preferred targets were powerful, awakened individuals and people with high social status. Ordinary civilians were merely reserves they kept in captivity. Most Tianchong foxes were only mid to high tier, yet even the patrol, packed with high-level awakened, couldn't defeat them. That meant there had to be a higher-ranking leader pulling the strings. The one that killed Luo Xiu was very likely that leader. My instincts told me it was terrifyingly strong. Using identification on it would immediately expose me, so it was probably a king-tier existence. With my current strength, confronting the Tianchong foxes head-on would be suicide. From now on, I had to grow stronger as fast as possible. I couldn't keep watching innocent people die. Soon, a week passed. During those days, I kept getting up early to train. My level increased by 1 as a result. Every day, I also tried generating contract gems and swallowing them, hoping to gain another talent. But ever since awakening identification, all the gems I produced were colorless and completely ineffective. Today, however, the gem finally had color again, and honestly, it didn't look appetizing at all. I swallowed it anyway, hoping it would work. The next moment, my body erupted with dazzling light. Sure enough, a new talent appeared on my status panel. Night Walker. It granted me night vision and complete invisibility within shadows. Perfect for nighttime investigation. At the same time, I noticed the contract gem had leveled up again. Could it be that every time I level up, I awaken a new talent? Wouldn't that make me invincible? I immediately set out to train, eager to test my new talent. As I ran, I could clearly feel that my vision was even sharper than during the day. Suddenly, I spotted a ring on the ground. I picked it up and tried to use identification on it. After several failed attempts, the identification finally succeeded. Assassination ring causes all living beings to subconsciously ignore the wearer. High-level awakened and above are immune. At the same time, a playback scene appeared. To my surprise, Luo Xiu, a Tianchong fox, had once appeared here. The human wearing a black mask, facing her, was likely the original owner of the ring. In his eyes, however, Luo Xiu should still have looked like a normal human. Luo Xiu had been an orphan since childhood, and given her personality, she wouldn't have made enemies easily. That left only one possibility. There were still people in Mingzhu City secretly fighting these monsters. Unfortunately, this masked man was clearly no match for Luo Xiu. Just then, a Tianchong fox's voice rang out from afar. "Who's there?" By the time the Tianchong fox arrived, my presence had already vanished, and it immediately noticed the ring was gone. No matter how it tried to sniff it out, it couldn't detect any trace. Anyone who can evade me must be at least mid-tier awakened. I need to inform Prince immediately. It seemed they had deliberately left the ring there. Putting it back now would only raise suspicion. Better to keep it for the time being. After returning to the dorm, I realized that strength wasn't limited to personal power alone. Equipment mattered just as much. Earlier, it was the pre-dawn darkness combined with the assassination ring that allowed me to remain completely hidden. Suddenly, a voice echoed in my mind. Zhang Ping. "Hi, they're here." I recognized that voice immediately. It was Su Jingyao. The next second, Luo Xiu pushed the door open. The surroundings fell silent, leaving only the sound of my breathing. Luo Xiu looked at me with a sinister smile. She raised her claws and lunged at me. But at the very last moment, she stopped. She sensed no emotional fluctuation from me. If I were a survivor, I would have reacted instinctively, and she couldn't detect the ring's aura either. So she abandoned the idea of killing me. Still, one of her subordinates spoke up in confusion. "Prince, why spare him? He runs every morning, yet skipped today? That's suspicious. Since we're already here, why not kill him and take it back as a snack?" Luo Xiu replied calmly. "He's just a worthless nobody, not worth wasting food on." Hearing that, the subordinate dared not say another word. Only after they left did I snap back to my senses. Thankfully, I had ordered myself to fall asleep earlier. Otherwise, I would have given myself away. I thought I'd heard Su Jingyao's voice just now. Was it an illusion? I quickly pulled myself together. What mattered most right now was getting stronger and avenging her. At noon in the cafeteria, I overheard some students talking. The patrol had found a body near the school, cut clean in half. The victim turned out to be Mingzhu City's infamous #1 assassin, Black Death Star. Were they talking about the masked man from last night? If even the top assassin was killed so easily, then Luo Xiu's strength was truly unfathomable. Displaying the body publicly was clearly meant as a warning to those resisting in secret. From now on, they'd be even more alert. I needed equipment to protect myself fast. As soon as class ended, I headed straight for the blacksmith district. To my surprise, almost all the blacksmith shops in the city were under Tianchong Fox control. Just then, a notification popped up. My identification skill had leveled up. After the upgrade, I could even identify growth potential. "Hey kid, want to come in and take a look? My goods are top-notch." I waved him off immediately. Finding an uncontaminated shop was the priority. Soon enough, I found another blacksmith shop, and thankfully, the voices inside were human. Inside, a young man was pitching his sword. "Old man, if you're willing to buy, I'll give you a bone-breaking discount. Lowest price." "What? You're saying everyone watching on the screen is handsome?" "Well, that's true." The blonde guy exploded. "You old bastard, don't push your luck." While they argued, I casually grabbed the weapon and used identification, common quality. "Looks bad, performs worse, trash." The blonde immediately rushed over to snatch it back. But the moment he grabbed it, the weapon snapped. Exposed, the blonde flew into a rage. He went full feral, like a savage monkey, boasting loudly that he was a direct disciple of Master Ma from the Xingyi Martial Hall. "Take my lightning 5-hit combo." He moved so fast that several afterimages formed around him. The next second, I slapped him straight back to reality. Afterimages? Interesting, but that's all. He lay on the ground, screaming about unfair tactics. I activated identification. His name was Liu Baohua, and the so-called invincible Overlord Soul Chi he used was all flashy effects. If I hadn't been careless and failed to dodge, kid, you'd better behave yourself. The moment I turned my back, the blonde tried to sneak attack me again. The outcome didn't change. One punch, and he was down. Just then, a girl's voice came from outside the door. Why is it so lively in here? Looks like we've got a distinguished guest. Should I twist your head off, or will you crawl out on your own? The blonde guy panicked and fled on the spot. Just as I was about to slip away too, she suddenly pinned me against the wall. You stay. Let's talk. Cold sweat broke out instantly. She leaned in and said she was just a single, weak woman struggling to survive, taking care of an uncle who'd lost his mind after his daughter went missing. You're strong and seem like a decent guy. How about staying here as a blacksmith? Help look after the old man and watch the shop. Food, lodging, and pay included. The offer was tempting. If I learned forging, I could save a lot of money in the future, and this shop didn't seem to be under Tian Chong Fox control. All right, I'll become the man of the blacksmith king. The moment I agreed, she happily slapped me across the face. First priority, survive her. Over the next few days, I worked tirelessly. The proprietress was quite satisfied with my strength control. Harder, Zhang Ping, but it felt more like kneading dough than forging metal. She explained this was her dough-kneading forging art. Mixing materials the way you knead dough, letting everything blend perfectly. Then she went to fetch a mold from the warehouse. I stared at the two barrels in panic. Which one is the fuel again? Forget it. Dump them both in. The fire's going out. The next second, the furnace exploded. Violent flames engulfed me instantly. The endless darkness made me think I was dead. But suddenly, my chest began devouring the flames like crazy. I could feel the power of fire flowing through my body. In the next instant, every last flame vanished. I immediately checked my stats. Not only had my growth value increased, the contract gem leveled up as well, and I gained a new skill, Fire Perceiver. I clearly remembered that other people's growth values were capped. Was I the only one who could awaken multiple talents? What puzzled me was the trigger condition. Just then, the proprietress returned and saw the mess inside the shop. Only then did she realize she'd forgotten to tell me not to throw crimson refining serpent scales in a furnace. I hurriedly apologized, but she said it was fine as long as I was alive. What intrigued her more was how I'd ignited the flames from the scales, and how perfectly the materials had fused together. That kind of result normally required extreme temperatures. While she was forging, she casually mentioned that Mingzhu City also had a third organization, but no one knew what it actually did. By the way, Zhang Ping, weren't you looking to buy equipment earlier? If you don't mind, you can take this. Looking at the delicate dagger, I hesitated. This must be expensive, right? The proprietress replied, judging by the materials, it's worth about 100,000. My brain instantly shut down. 100,000? Is that something a guy with a 3,000 monthly salary can accept? She laughed. Consider it a reward for your progress. Then she left on a task, reminding me to look after the old man and not let him open the shop. The shop hadn't drawn Tian Chong Fox's attention because it was closed, but with all the noise earlier, that might change. So I decided to patrol the area after dark. Unexpectedly, I ran into a Tian Chong Fox wearing a child's skin, calmly swinging on a playground swing. Fortunately, it was only level 3. With proper equipment, I should be able to take it down. If I handed the body to the higher-ups, it might finally draw attention. Just as I was about to act, my entire body froze solid. Don't move, or I'll kill you. The killing intent from the woman sent chills down my spine. She was far stronger than me, strong enough to see through Nightwalker and the assassination ring with ease. She coldly told me that if I wanted to live, I was to go to the orphanage training ground immediately. Then she vanished. She clearly wasn't allied with the Tian Chong Foxes. Otherwise, I'd already be dead. I soon arrived at the orphanage training ground. What puzzled me was that this park's name had been given by me as a child. How did she know it? Before I could think further, a mutated beast interrupted my thoughts. I activated identification at once. Mutated rat, level 5, tail highly venomous. The level gap made me want to retreat, but if I didn't deal with it now, children from the orphanage could be killed tomorrow. So I chose to fight to the death. With the equipment the proprietress gave me, it should be manageable. I lack combat experience, but I could command my body to fight automatically. The mutated rat suddenly leaped. I immediately ordered full defense. To my shock, its armor was extremely tough. The dagger couldn't cut it. I'd have to rely on strategy. I shoved it away and widened the distance. The rat gave me no breathing room, instantly firing streams of venom at me. I could only keep ordering my body to dodge, like controlling a character in a game. I noticed its eyes were the weak point, the only place without armor. But once it curled up, breaking through was tricky. Then an idea struck. I issued a command to use a technique recorded in history books. Mingzhu fist, bright fist, rat-chasing form. A heavy, crushing move that used size advantage to overpower small enemies. I feinted first, forcing it to curl up, then followed with fire. While it screamed in agony, bound by flames, I seized the moment and struck its vital point. Flames erupted all around. When the fire faded, the mutated rat was dead. My level and all attributes increased. Real combat really did level faster than training. Just as I wondered why a mutated rat appeared here, a pool of stagnant water formed beneath my feet and dragged me under. What kind of filthy water is this? You have 3 minutes. It was the same woman's voice. A white-haired woman pointed an ice sword at me. Prove you're human. I sighed helplessly. I am human. How am I supposed to prove it? Perform a song and dance rap for you? Perhaps she'd realized there were infiltrating mutated beasts in the city, but had no reliable way to tell them apart. I asked if she could at least give me a hint. She replied coldly, "You have 4 minutes." I frantically used identification on her. After failing 999 times, my identification finally advanced to the advanced tier, and only then did her information appear. Her name was Lu Sishan, level 28. Her talent was water element manipulation, able to freely control drinking water or any nearby source of water. No wonder Nightwalker and the assassination ring were useless against her. As for her organization, Purge, I'd never even heard of it. Could this be the mysterious third faction? Suddenly, she warned me that I had 1 second left. My mind went into overdrive. You call this little park a training ground. That means you're from the orphanage too, right? But there was no one named Lu Sishan in my memories, so you must have changed your name. Then a similar name surfaced in my mind. Wait, are you Lu Cece? She froze the moment she heard it. That confirmed it. I was right. But she still said that wasn't enough to prove I was human. Lu Cece was 3 years older than me. When I entered Mingzhu Academy, she had already joined the investigation team. If there was something only the two of us knew, it was a set of punches she taught me when we were kids. I recited the move names one by one. Heaven-shattering strike, Cece's invincible punch. Cece is the cutest in the world punch. Lu Sishan's face instantly turned red. I get it. Stop. Then she asked her second question. According to Academy records, your ability is the contract gem. Since you couldn't meet its activation conditions, it was classified as useless. So what exactly have you been up to lately? I answered honestly. 2 weeks ago, I swallowed the contract gem and became a contract beast under my own control. That's why I'm immune to any illusion cast by mutated beasts and can see through their disguises. Based on my investigation, a large number of Tianchong foxes are currently hiding throughout the city. I suspect an entire clan has invaded Mingzhu City. Their racial innate ability is cognitive distortion. Lu Sishan immediately grabbed me, her voice trembling. Everything you said, it's all true? I nodded and told her about the breakfast shop owner on Lei Street, the furniture store owner, and several other Tianchong foxes. Even the little girl you stopped me from killing just now was one of them. If you don't believe me, go verify it yourself. Lu Sishan immediately contacted her teammate, Jean Bo, asking whether this intelligence was reliable. Jean Bo replied, "We can confirm that no mutated beast called a Tianchong fox has ever been officially recorded in Mingzhu City. However, the ability of cognitive distortion has appeared multiple times and matches Zhang Ping's description perfectly. I've already dispatched people to capture them in secret. The two closest targets should be reporting back soon. Suddenly, an explosion erupted behind Jinbo. What happened? A team member hurriedly reported, "Captain, the breakfast shop owner went berserk right after being taken out of the city. She broke free and attacked us." At that moment, the breakfast shop owner stood right in front of Jinbo. Jinbo roared, "You're asking for death." He drove a punch straight through her abdomen. As her life faded, her body rapidly reverted to the true form of a Tianchong fox. Jinbo immediately issued an order for the other team: capture and execute all the previously mentioned targets on site. At the same time, the Tianchong fox impersonating Luo Shiyu at the academy instantly sensed the deaths of her subordinates. Yet no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't lock onto the killer. Rage exploded within her. Who could carry out such swift kills and erase their aura so completely? Within the suggestion space, Lu Sishan finally believed everything I said. The only uncertainty left was whether my sudden ability to see through Tianchong Fox illusions was itself a trap deliberately set by the enemy. So she decided to let me act as an informant for now. For the next period of time, she would protect me from the shadows, and if I discovered anything unusual, I was to contact her immediately. Then she handed me a jade pendant. It was a paired set. She kept the warm jade while I held the cold jade. If I encountered danger, all I had to do was cover the cold jade with flames. The warm jade in her hand would heat up, letting her know I was in trouble. For now, she still advised me to focus on improving my own strength. I admitted that I wanted to, but the tuition fees were simply too much. Lu Sishan said she'd help apply for funding through the organization and told me to look around for a suitable martial arts school. The next morning, I began searching nearby for dojos. Suddenly, I spotted a pink-haired girl handing out flyers, advertising Beast King Fist. It didn't look cheap, but fortunately Lu Sishan had given me 10,000 Mingzhu as activity funds. The pink-haired girl enthusiastically promised it was absolutely worth the price and claimed Beast King Fist was quite famous in Mingzhu City. If you don't believe me, I can demonstrate. I immediately started learning. She told me Beast King Fist had 3 forms. The first was Black Tiger Steals the Heart, the second Dragon and Tiger Clash, and the third Crow Sits on the Plain. Each name sounded incredibly domineering. Unfortunately, she was clearly not proficient and couldn't display the true power of the style. Just then, 2 burly men approached, who allowed people from the Beast King Fist Hall to hand out flyers here. The girl hurriedly apologized, saying she didn't know flyers weren't allowed. Then a blonde punk stepped out, sneering, "Beast King Fist? That trash-tier martial art? You'd be better off coming to our Xingyi Fist Hall." I recognized him instantly. It was none other than the lightning guy I'd slapped flying before. Enraged by both old grudges and new, the blonde immediately ordered Big Bear and Second Bear to teach me a lesson. The pink-haired girl stepped in front of me with her small frame. "I won't let you bully him." As their pressure surged, I activated identification. To my surprise, their talent was trading intelligence for physical enhancement. They already didn't look very bright, and they willingly lowered their intelligence. Was that really a talent? What shocked me even more was that the girl in front of me, Wang Jimin, had a growth rating of 7 stars, a guaranteed late-game powerhouse. Her only flaw was a disastrously low learning ability. With her current strength, standing up for me was basically asking for a beating. I told Wang Jimin to step aside. "Leave this to me. This is my problem." Perfect timing. I could test the Beast King Fist I just learned. Seeing this, Big Bear and Second Bear immediately charged at me. I dodged with ease and countered them one by one. Liu Baowu decisively activated Lightning Dance. Before he could even show it off, I struck him precisely. Liu Baowu collapsed so hard he practically kowtowed to me in comfort. With everything settled, I asked Wang Jimin to take me to register at the martial arts hall. By now, Wang Jimin had completely turned into my fangirl. She couldn't believe I'd learned Beast King Fist just by watching once, and asked if I could teach her in the future. Of course I agreed without hesitation. With her 7-star potential, even the worst outcome would be a high-level awakening. Wang Jimin led me to the Beast King Fist Hall. Inside, the trainees were wailing in despair. their instructor was coming back. After her explanation, I learned that Instructor Baida was notoriously strict. Anyone who failed to complete tasks would be severely punished. I asked what was so admirable about that, but Wang Jimin replied proudly that it was. She'd been punished the most. After over a month, she still hadn't passed the basic forms. At that moment, the instructor returned, and his first order was for everyone to run 50 laps. At the same time, I identified Baida's attributes and talent. The ability to transform consumed food into bodily forms, currently storing running wolf form and berserk lion form. That surprised me. Judging by his level and strength alone, he was nearly on par with Sister Cece. Instructor Baida walked up to me. "You're the kid who helped deal with the Shingi fist haul yesterday?" The moment I answered yes, he attacked without another word. I could only keep dodging, cursing as I went. "You old men are way too much," throwing punches at a newbie without warning. Hearing the word newbie, Baida laughed. "You learned the Ape King form just by watching one demonstration." Just when I thought I was done for, he merely tapped my head lightly. "Ha ha, kid, you've got good comprehension. I didn't quite believe it before. Too bad the one who demonstrated Ape King form for you was half-baked. The footwork was way off." He said he'd correct it for me later, and I hurriedly thanked him. Then the instructor began testing the trainees' skills, lining them up one by one to spar with me. Anyone who failed had to do 500 push-ups and run 10 kilometers. Suddenly, a small hand poked my back. Wang Jimin cautiously asked if, after the instructor corrected me, I could also teach her privately, since the instructor rarely taught more. I agreed and told her to come back to the blacksmith shop with me after class to practice. Wang Jimin was overjoyed. "I was afraid you'd say no. This is great. This whole hard work makes up for lack of talent thing is basically torture for the person teaching you. With learning ability down by 90%, no instructor would want to teach more." After a few days of teaching Wang Jimin, she finally showed some improvement. That only worked because I broke the Ape King form into several tiny movements. Still, Beast King Fist really had something to it. After a few days of practice, I could vaguely feel my level starting to rise. Suddenly, I heard the shop owner call out, "Zhangping, I'm back." I told Wang Jimin to keep practicing and went to check. The moment I stepped out, she said she'd almost not made it back. For some reason, there were far fewer beasts and mutated creatures outside. They were forced to go deep into the northern mountains and ran into a storm wolf pack, barely surviving by hiding with a burrowing shovel. Still, the trip wasn't wasted. They brought back something valuable. Using identification, I saw it was a wind gem. The shop owner didn't expect me to recognize it. Even a child could use it to cast wind blades. But when I held the gem, I heard many voices talking at once, which confused me. Then the status panel notified me. I had awakened a new talent, Wind Whisperer, able to hear emotionally intense sounds within 10 kilometers. So the voices were caused by the new talent. Suddenly, I heard nearby Tianchong foxes discussing how they would eat us later. Cold sweat broke out. We were already being targeted. Meanwhile, Lu Sisan had just finished showering. Seeing the warm jade glow, she stiffened. Zhang Ping is in danger. But why hadn't Sister Cece arrived yet? The two Tianchong foxes were losing patience and could enter at any moment. I could clearly feel they were both mid-tier. Even with the shop owner, we had no chance. The shop owner noticed my expression and asked what was wrong. I quickly changed the subject, telling her to check on Uncle Lou while I went to buy groceries. She didn't think much of it, just told me to hurry. She hadn't eaten my cooking in a long time. After saying goodbye, I planned to take Wang Jimin away immediately to avoid dragging the shop owner and Uncle Lou into this. I soon found Wang Jimin practicing in the backyard. I grabbed her wrist and pulled her toward the exit, but the two Tianchong foxes blocked us. "Where do you think you're going?" I immediately stepped in front of Wang Jimin, telling her not to come closer. What I didn't expect was that the two Tianchong foxes were disguised as her parents. "Jimin, who's this with you? Why does he look so scared of us?" Unaware of the truth, Wang Jimin tried to step forward to explain, but I held her back firmly. Suddenly, a darkroom space activated around us, and I felt a surge of relief. Seeing us try to escape, the two Tianchong foxes rushed in and attacked. I scooped Wang Jimin up and charged straight into the Blackwater. But they were too fast and followed us in. I still took a heavy blow. Wang Jimin was extremely worried, but I quickly steadied myself. She still didn't understand what was happening. I could only tell her that those two people were no longer her parents. The Tianchong foxes hadn't expected me to see through their disguise. The next instant, they lunged at us again. They were so fast I couldn't dodge. I could only raise my blade to block. So, this is the gap in levels? Even worse, the other one had already gone after Wang Jimin, closing in on her. Damn it, I'm almost at my limit. At that moment, Lu Sisan arrived just in time. In a single instant, she seized control. Both Tianchong foxes were pierced through the abdomen. She immediately stepped forward and finished them off. Bu gave them any chance to react. After dealing with the Tianchong foxes, Lu Sisan asked whether we were injured. But seeing her parents lying on the ground, Wang Jimin completely broke down. Why did you kill my parents? They were clearly my mom and dad. I felt something was off. Normally, Tianchong foxes reveal their true form upon death. I'd seen it happen outside the city. Lu Sisan explained that a king-tier Tianchong fox might be reinforcing the entire clan's illusion ability. Within the city, even the lowest-tier foxes could deceive high-level awakeners. Looks like only I can truly expose their disguise. I turned to Wang Jimin. These mutated creatures killed your parents and took their place. This is what they really were. Realizing her parents were gone forever, Wang Jimin's tears wouldn't stop. She trembled as she touched the bloodstains on the ground, apologizing over and over. She regretted not noticing earlier. If she had, maybe none of this would have happened. Lu Sisan spoke bluntly. Even if you had noticed sooner, what could you have done? Realizing she'd gone too far, I quickly stopped her. Wang Jimin finally screamed in despair. Enough. It's all my fault. I'm too weak. I can't even master the most basic techniques. Why did my parents die instead of me? Seeing her collapse under guilt, I stepped forward and pulled her into my arms. Listen, this isn't your fault. I also lost someone important to me, killed by Tianchong foxes hiding within the patrol squad. I've wondered whether stopping him from joining would have changed anything. But I know that was his dream. Even if I went back, the ending wouldn't change. No one can change what's already happened, but you can change the future. Become stronger. Protect others. I believe your parents will be proud of you. Only then did Wang Jimin finally calm down. Thank you, Zhang Ping. Yet just as I vowed to wipe out all Tianchong foxes, I suddenly spat out blood. When I opened my eyes again, Sister Cece and Wang Jimin were still by my side. Sister Cece told me not to move, warning me my wounds could reopen. As I was about to ask how long I'd been unconscious, Wang Jimin held my hand and told me she had made up her mind to grow stronger and fight the Tianchong foxes with us. I was genuinely happy for her. I believe you can do it. But at that moment, I heard something unusual. Meanwhile, Luo Shiyu sensed that humans had found a way to counter the illusions. 9 of her kin had died in just 1 week. One subordinate suggested wiping out all humans in the city. A fat subordinate retorted, "Then what are we supposed to eat?" Luo Shiyu silenced them immediately. A massacre isn't realistic, and it wastes food. Our priority is to lure out whoever's hiding in the shadows and eliminate them all. Deputy City Lord, do you have a plan? The Deputy City Lord replied calmly, "We could bring in other species, muddy the waters of Mingzhu City, and then systematically eliminate the strongest humans." Back then, the City Lord was heavily wounded by the king and barely escaped. Now, among the 3 major organizations, besides the patrol squad and the investigation team, there's still one more. I suspect he's hiding within that group. They're waiting for us to slip up. The subordinate nearby agreed. It sounded like a solid plan. Luo Shiyu nodded. Then we'll proceed. But the king is still in hibernation. Even though you've helped my clan, if you make any suspicious moves, I will still kill you. Huang Ziming immediately knelt. I would never dare. The former city lord of Mingzhu City was incompetent. I only wish for Mingzhu City to be ruled by the strong. Meanwhile, on the other side, I had already told Sister Cece about Luo Shiyu's plan. After hearing it, she calmly analyzed the situation. The deputy city lord of Mingzhu City has already defected. The king you mentioned can amplify the clan's illusions to the point that even top-tier awakeners can't see through them. That means it must be the Tian Chong Fox King. Since their king is still asleep, this is our best window to counterattack. At the same time, elsewhere, two people were still waiting for me to come back and cook. Just wait a bit longer. Zhang Ping should be back from grocery shopping soon. Meanwhile, inside the sweep team's base, three girls were heading toward the route to activate the sky curtain. The girl on the left, sipping an Americano, was Chun Luowei. The blonde-haired girl on the right was named Manny. The mature woman walking in the center was Su Jie, and she was in charge of initiating the sky curtain. Once Su Jie finished charging her solar energy, the other two also infused their abilities into the formation. The illusory light sky curtain activated, instantly covering all of Mingzhu City. After a period of close cooperation, the sweep team finally agreed to share part of their intelligence. They were Mingzhu City's true trump card, handling missions that could never be made public. What supported their operations was a special internal division, the Barrier Unit. According to Sister Cece, the Barrier Unit had 3 core members. The leader, Manny, possessed the ability Black Curtain, which could pull targets into a completely isolated dark chamber space. My previous encounters, they were all her doing. Su Jie's ability was Solar Charge, absorbing sunlight to provide continuous energy for teammates, basically a living power bank. The last member, Chun Luowei, wielded Light and Shadow Phantasm, altering surface light and color to achieve invisibility. When the three worked together, they could activate the illusory light sky curtain, seamlessly dragging all king tier and lower beings within its range into the dark chamber space, while freely altering the environment to confuse enemies. Soon, I sensed 2 Tian Chong foxes coming out to hunt, scanning for suitable prey. At that moment, the purple-haired Tian Chong fox suddenly felt something was off. The white-haired one thought she was just being paranoid. But in the next second, he froze. The once bustling street had fallen completely silent, and all the people were gone. As they stood stunned, a powerful beam of golden light crashed down onto them. What a pity! I couldn't take you 2 beasts out with a single punch. The Tian Chong foxes remained arrogant. We just wanted to eat a few humans. Was it really worth attacking us so openly? Our reinforcements will arrive soon. Then you're dead. Captain Jean Bo laughed coldly. Then call them. I dare you. The next second, he activated Golden Experience. According to Zhang Ping's intel, you two are around level 25. I'm level 32. I should manage. Immediately, the 2 Tian Chong foxes rushed in. Jean Bo instinctively raised his arms to block. Yet strangely, fresh wounds appeared on his body out of nowhere. The purple-haired Tian Chong fox followed up with another strike. The same thing happened again, leaving Jean Bo visibly confused. Seeing him forced onto the defensive, the white-haired Tian Chong fox pressed forward. That's it. No wonder those idiots got wiped out. Let's finish this. I can't wait to grab a few human bastards. The next instant, a solid punch smashed into his face. He was sent flying over 2 meters. What are you so cocky about? I haven't even started yet. Enraged, the purple-haired Tian Chong fox lunged at Jean Bo with her claws. But suddenly, her attack froze midair. I see. Even if I can't see your exact form, I've figured it out. Her wrist was twisted violently and snapped. This ability works for ambushes, but head-on, it's nothing special. The purple-haired Tian Chong fox screamed in agony and cried out for the white-haired one to save her. Jean Bo grabbed the purple-haired Tian Chong fox and hurled her straight toward the white-haired one. He immediately leapt into the air, gathering power. Then he came crashing down with a single stomp. The 2 Tian Chong foxes died without ever understanding why they couldn't sense their own kind. You two still have the strength to talk. Jean Bo sneered, throwing another punch. Here you go. The Tian Chong foxes roared in rage, completely broken. We'll hate this together. Still talking? Then take another one. Explosions rang out in rapid succession. Watching from a distance, I couldn't help but sigh. So strong. Sister Cece said that was only natural. After all, Jean Bo was the leader of the combat unit. His current appearance even reminded me of a Super Saiyan. Meanwhile, the surface world remained completely normal. The battle here had no impact on it at all. Suddenly, Sister Cece received a notice from headquarters. Mutated beasts outside the city were gathering and rioting for unknown reasons, and she needed to investigate before it interfered with the illusory light sky curtain. She decided to take me along, letting me gain some real combat experience. As for the blacksmith shop, she had already assigned protection and mentioned that the leader wanted to meet me. With the sudden outbreak of mutated beasts outside the city, Sister Cece and I headed out to investigate the cause. Seeing plants rustling ahead, curiosity got the better of me, and I stepped closer. But Sister Cece suddenly grabbed me and pulled me back. In the next instant, the plant launched a drop of green liquid. It exploded immediately. These plants were called hydrochloric grass, highly corrosive. When their fruit ripened, they spread acidic liquid through explosions. Luckily, I was far enough away to avoid it. Sister Cece then told me that the rabbit feeding on hydrochloric grass would be my first opponent, while she went to investigate the beast riot. Using appraisal, I learned that although the rabbit looked harmless, its level was even higher than the poison-tail rats. Taking advantage of its inattention, I struck first. Unexpectedly, it reacted instantly and dodged. Just as planned, my Ming fist was already waiting ahead. The bullet rabbit fired corrosive liquid from its ears at shotgun-like speed. Fortunately, the flames covering my body instantly evaporated the acid, but that also triggered the surrounding hydrochloric grass. Streams of corrosive liquid burst into the air like fireworks. I immediately commanded myself to evade the acid. While auto-battling, I observed my surroundings and analyzed the situation. I quickly realized the bullet rabbit had extremely sharp senses and was immune to the grass's corrosion. Worse, it was clever, spraying acid to block my approach and lure me toward areas where the fruit had ripened. That's when I recalled the acid hadn't harmed me earlier, probably because of the flames. Before I could think further, the bullet rabbit fired several more streams of acid. This time, I didn't dodge and instead blocked them head-on with fire. The acid evaporated instantly upon contact with the flames. Just as I suspected, no wonder Sister Cece felt safe letting me challenge enemies above my level. Seeing all the acid it had painstakingly stored get wiped out, the bullet rabbit instantly snapped and charged straight at me. Its attack speed was overwhelming, forcing me into pure defense. As it attacked, it glared at me furiously, as if questioning why I didn't drink its precious acid soup. But unfortunately, I don't speak rabbit. At the same time, I realized its claws were also corrosive. I immediately wreathed my entire body in flames. If I wanted to avoid corrosion, I had to activate Blazing Fury. But this state demanded a quick finish. Once my rage ran out, I'd be in trouble. What are you babbling about, you stupid rabbit? You're not the only smart one here. I feinted an attack and seized the brief, opening right after it leapt to evade. Instantly, I unleashed a wall of fire, trapping the bullet rabbit inside. Nowhere left to run, just as my dagger was about to strike. The bullet rabbit dodged again and leapt high into the air. At that moment, my fire element reserves were nearly depleted. But I didn't panic. I activated Fire Devourer, absorbing all nearby flames back into myself. My fire reserves recovered to 13 points. All right, let's see how you dodge in midair. The next instant, I hurled my flame-wreathed dagger, and the bullet rabbit was instantly roasted into a charred dish. Looking at the fallen rabbit, I finally relaxed. That was exhausting, but my stats didn't increase, which means it's not dead yet. Guess I need to finish it off. After a round of relentless follow-up attacks, the system prompted, all attributes +2. Unfortunately, my level didn't increase. Leveling up only gets harder the higher you go. At the same time, Fire Devourer advanced from basic to intermediate, boosting my maximum fire capacity too. An unexpected gain. Does that mean I can spam Blazing Fury now? Just then, the sudden noise around me caught my attention. Countless bullet rabbits were closing in from every direction. I involuntarily ordered myself to shout, "Oh shit." Worse yet, my last attack had drained all remaining fire reserves. Suddenly, I remembered I could call for Sister Cece and prepared to use the last bit of fire energy to activate the Jade Pendant. Sister Cece helped, but the bullet rabbits beat me to it, blocking my path. completely surrounding me. No way, they're this smart? Even flanking tactics? In the next instant, every bullet rabbit fired corrosive acid straight at me. Looks like I could only try to endure it with my clothes for now. At the critical moment, an ice wall suddenly appeared and blocked the attack. It was Sister Cece. She had arrived just in time. She told me to fall back immediately, then raised her hand and drew upon the water element within her body. In the next instant, a massive surge of water crashed toward the bullet rabbits. All of them were swallowed at once. With a snap of her fingers, the raging waves froze solid. Seeing this, I couldn't help but marvel at her strength. I had nearly exhausted myself just dealing with a single one. After dealing with the bullet rabbits, Sister Cece asked where so many of them came from. I could only say I had no idea either. But suddenly, another group of bullet rabbits poured out from the distance, seemingly endless. Sister Cece condensed an ice sword and prepared to fight. Strangely, the bullet rabbits began ramming frantically into their leader, as if trying to rescue it. Yet their leader was clearly already dead. They ignored everything around them, as though drawn by something else entirely. To confirm her suspicion, Sister Cece swiftly eliminated the remaining bullet rabbits. Then she released the ice, encasing the leader to examine it. Sure enough, after searching, she found a soul-luring pellet. Curious, I asked what soul-luring pellet was. Sister Cece explained that it was an item created by the Zhu family of beast taming, designed to forcibly control mutated beasts. The pellet emits a special scent that only low and mid-tier mutated beasts can detect. The scent lures them into consuming it, causing them to lose their rationality and become forcibly tamed. As for how the Zhu family controls these tamed beasts afterward, that remains unknown. Sister Cece immediately destroyed the soul-luring pellet. It can't be digested, and leaving it behind would only lead to more beasts being controlled. From the looks of it, the recent beast unrest was caused by these pellets. She then prepared to report the findings to headquarters. Meanwhile, behind a tree not far away, a mysterious man dressed in black was secretly listening to our conversation. In the next second, Sister Cece struck without warning. The tree was split cleanly in half, but the figure behind it had already vanished. I hurriedly asked what was wrong, but Sister Cece shook her head, saying it was probably just her imagination. At the same time, on the Tianchong Fox side, Luo Xiu began preparing to move. The repeated disappearance of children on Craftsman Street finally made her realize something was wrong. She knew it clearly. Humans had found a way to break mental manipulation. So she gathered all Tianchong foxes living on Craftsman Street, planning to stir up chaos, then pretend to uncover something and attempt to flee, forcing humans to act early. She wanted to see exactly who it was that could see through the illusion. Meanwhile, I was frantically farming bullet rabbits, using Nightwalker in combination with a flame-coated blade, killing one with each strike. In just 1 week, I leveled up to level 6 by hunting rabbits. At the same time, I completely mastered their attack patterns and weaknesses. I used Blazing Fury to ignore ranged attacks and deliberately provoke them. Their close-range acid attacks could be ignited, but the flames burned too briefly to be lethal. However, by using Scarlet Refining Snake Scales as fuel, the fire could burn continuously. I named this move Fire Devourer Spiral Samadhi True Flame. After wiping out so many at once, I should level up, right? Sure enough, I reached level 7 and discovered that the contract gem had also leveled up. I used to think the contract gem leveled in sync with me, but even after I jumped 2 levels to level 6 earlier, it was still stuck at level 4. Apparently, it's much harder to upgrade. I wondered what new ability I'd awaken this time. Hopefully something combat-oriented. Suddenly, the corpse of a bullet rabbit behind me eerily opened its eyes. Only then did I notice something was wrong. Right after swallowing the contract gem, I stared at the bullet rabbit in confusion. I didn't know why I was playing dead, but whatever, it'd end the same way every time. I prepared to turn it into roasted rabbit once again, charging straight at me. Interesting. Yet my attack passed straight through it. I frowned. Had killing too many spawned some kind of vengeful spirit? Either way, I didn't care. I attacked again, this time faster and more decisive. This time, the bullet rabbit completely lost all signs of life. and the strange power clinging to it dissipated. The skill the bullet rabbit used, something I'd never seen before, caught me off guard. Could it have been controlled by a soul-luring pellet as well? I decided to dissect it and find out. Before long, I discovered something unusual, though it wasn't a soul-luring pellet. Repeated appraisals kept failing, but thankfully, I could keep appraising until it succeeded. When the information finally appeared, I froze. It was a power essence stored in the testicles of a nethermist black goat, and I had to consume it. The panel identified it as nethermist essence, a condensed power crystal preserved within the nethermist black goat's testicles. At the same time, a vision unfolded before my eyes. A nethermist black goat, shrouded in black fog, stood alone against a swarm of mutated beasts. Just as both sides were about to collide, its body dissolved into mist and scattered. Moments later, it reformed directly above a mutated boar. Then it dove straight down with unstoppable momentum. In the end, it plunged into the boar's body, perishing together with it. The vision faded. I had a strong feeling this orb was a rare treasure, on the same level as the wind gem. Still, knowing where it came from made the whole thing hard to swallow, literally. As I stared at the solitary orb, memories flooded back. The Tianchong fox who killed Su Jingyao once standing brazenly right in front of me. And all I could do was force a smile, weak, hypocritical, insignificant as an ant. Did I even have the right to hesitate? The next moment, I swallowed the nethermist essence whole. Agonizing pain tore through my body, my head feeling like it was about to explode. Just as I was on the verge of collapse, Su Jingyao's image surfaced in my mind again. Zhang Ping promised me, no matter what happens, you must survive. Don't worry, Su Jingyao. Before I wipe out those beasts, I will stay alive. Suddenly, the system notified me. Appraisal complete, contract gem effect activated. New ability acquired. Nethermist body, basic. By absorbing the fear of living beings, I can convert it into controllable mist. Each point of mist consumed grants 10% attack and 10% defense, up to a maximum of 1000%. This talent genuinely surprised me. It was both offensive and defensive. At the same time, my growth rating increased by 3 stars. Seeing that, tears welled up in my eyes. I couldn't tell if they were from grief or joy. At last, I had the power to avenge Su Jingyao. A passerby stopped and asked if I was okay. I slowly stood up and told them I was fine. Unfortunately, my grim expression scared everyone. They thought they were looking at a ghost. That reaction fed me a trace of nethermist energy, though it didn't feel like real mist at all. Still, its form could shift freely according to my will. I decided to test the lowest damage output. To my shock, using just a single point of nethermist reserve, sliced a towering tree clean in half. Even after chopping it into pieces, the mist was able to block the impact of the falling debris. Used properly, this would be my trump card against high-tier mutated beasts. Just then, Sis anxiously called out to me. Before I could say a word, she instantly mobilized her water element. After scanning the surroundings and finding no nethermist mutant, I admitted that I had already consumed the nethermist essence. Sis stared at me in disbelief. You actually ate the nethermist essence? She immediately scolded me, asking if I had a death wish. How could I eat something with an unknown origin? What if it killed me? I replied that if there really was a problem, I could just command myself to throw it up. She went speechless. And what makes you think you could even vomit it out? What if the nethermist essence was a parasite? You'd be finished. Cold sweat broke out across my back as I finally realized how serious this was. Sis explained that nethermist mutants were mysterious beings with no fixed form, usually residing inside other creatures. The black goat and the bullet rabbits I mentioned were likely nothing more than puppet hosts, spiritual mutant vessels. Once a host died, the creature would burrow into a random organ and wait for the next host. In other words, I had nearly been parasitized, and worse, nethermist mutants could control the infected. Thinking back to the excruciating pain when I swallowed the essence, I wondered if that had been the nethermist fighting for control of my body. Since I was fine now, did that mean the parasitism had failed? Even Sis wasn't sure. Maybe the monster inside me had devoured the nethermist instead. Or maybe my absolute self-control kept me unaffected even if I had been infected. Then her expression turned dangerous. If anything happens to you, I'll have no choice but to kill you myself. Her killing intent made me stumble backward, knocking a small spider out of the tree. The spider locked eyes with her. "Hey there, beautiful. Nice weather today, huh?" The fierce sis instantly panicked. She flailed her water blade wildly. Then she dove straight into my arms. "Hurry, get that huge spider away from me." I gently brushed my fingers through Sis C's hair. She was still just as afraid of insects as she had been when we were kids. I remembered how we used to play in the small woods. Whenever I caught a bug, I'd immediately run over and use it to scare her. Every time, she'd panic, her little hands flailing everywhere. Watching her slap the insect away, I felt a bit down. My newly caught friend had been scared off just like that. Sis C patted my head and said softly, "Silly kid, there's so many friends in the orphanage. Why do you insist on making bugs your friends?" I shook my head sadly. One day they'd all leave the orphanage. When that happened, what would I do? Hearing that, Sis C hugged me tightly and said that no matter what happened, she'd always be my friend. Then let's pinky swear. Thinking of that, I hugged her even tighter. Once she recovered, Sis C quickly pushed me away. She changed the subject and warned me that out in the wild, I should never eat anything of unknown origin. Everything comes with risks, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. She then turned back with a smile and said this was something I absolutely had to remember and never repeat again. Looking at the familiar Sis C, I couldn't help but smile. I'd thought that after joining the cleanse team, she'd grow distant, but she hadn't changed at all. She still cared for me just like before, only less willing to show it. Suddenly, the communicator at her waist rang. As she listened to the report, her expression turned serious. She said that both the investigation and my special training would have to pause. We had to return to Pearl City immediately. Captain Jinbo had been seriously injured in an attack by the Tianchong Fox and needed urgent support. I was stunned. I never expected even Jinbo to end up like that. I asked Sis C why they didn't seek help from the investigation team outside the city. She said that would only alert the enemy, and the world beyond the walls was far more complicated. On the way back, Sis C explained what the outside world was like. With mutant beasts roaming everywhere, the remaining humans had no choice but to build higher and higher walls to survive. As a result, transportation became severely restricted, and the city could only rely on the investigation team and independent awakeners to explore new areas. According to current intelligence, there were villages and wild men in the areas around Pearl City where aberrant beasts were relatively scarce. Farther out lay the sea. Because top-tier aberrant beasts existed there, no investigation had been possible so far, and no one knew whether other cities existed beyond it. What lay on the other side of the ocean? We soon returned to Pearl City and got a general grasp of the situation. Under the full surveillance of the phantasm light canopy these past few days, there had been no abnormal activity from the Tianchong Fox. That changed last night. The low and mid-level Tianchong Fox and Artisan Street suddenly moved out in force. We went to intercept them, only to discover it was a trap, and their leader was present as well. Captain Jinbo was seriously wounded while covering our retreat. The command decided that you would temporarily take his place and lead the team to safeguard Pearl City. After saying that, Sis C told me to return to Iron Soul for now and contact her later. Watching them leave, I turned back, planning to check on how Wang Jimin's training was going. Then suddenly, the fallen leaves in front of me froze in midair, and the pedestrians behind me seemed completely frozen as well. As I stood there in confusion, someone suddenly called out to me. I immediately activated appraisal. After failing 66 times, it finally succeeded, but the panel showed that the other party was using a hidden identity talent. Seeing my confusion, he smiled faintly. Can't see it, huh? Still trying to probe my abilities? I should give you some credit. Even a high-level appraisal awakener can use it fewer than 10 times a day, yet you can use it endlessly. Realizing my intentions have been seen through, I felt a surge of unease. I could only use appraisal infinitely by forcibly commanding myself. So how did he know that? Though the man looked calm, the aura he gave off sent a chill down my spine. Kid, come play with me for a bit. I replied cautiously that I had no reason to attack him. But the old man's next words ignited my anger. Was my vow to avenge Su Jingyao nothing more than empty talk? In the next instant, I drew my blade and rushed straight at him. Say that again if you dare. Just as the blade was about to slice toward his neck, it stopped dead. My heart skipped. Spatial ability? He instantly blinked behind me. I didn't hesitate for even a second and swung at the old man with full force again. The attack was blocked effortlessly. He even took the time to comment, "Your speed still needs work." I answered him verbally, while my other hand quietly began gathering flames behind my back. The next moment, I activated Blazing Fury and attacked again, only to find a protective barrier in front of him. Right after that, his body turned intangible. The phase figure in front of me turned out to be nothing more than a clone. The real old man was already closing in. Luckily, my reaction was fast enough for me to barely dodge. Water element again? I muttered. How many abilities does this guy even have? With no other choice, I drew on what little nether mist I had left, forming a shield to block the attack. At this point, I could only try that move. I feinted to create an opening, and the moment he dodged, I launched a sneak attack using Nightwalker. Just as I thought I had him, the old man smiled calmly. A bit clever, but your strength is nowhere near enough. As his words fell, a blinding flash of light swept across the area. I was blasted away by the overwhelming force. I still refused to give up, but then I realized I couldn't move at all. Telekinesis, too? That's just cheating. Soon, my body regained its freedom. The old man told me to stay and talk. Anyone who would go to such lengths to test me, and whose strength surpassed both Jinbo and Sis C, could only be the leader of the cleanse team. I straightened up and asked respectfully, "May I know how I should address you?" The old man chuckled softly. "Stop playing dumb. Do you really not know my name?" It seemed the cleanse team already knew everything about me. I asked, "Sir Situ, what brings you here this time?" Before I could finish, Situ Shurbai warned me, "Zhang Ping, until you can block mind-reading abilities, you'd better not think too much." He then explained his purpose. After me, Pearl City hasn't produced a single infinite-grade ability user for 200 years. How could I not come take a look? I was completely stunned. You mean I'm infinite grade? But isn't the highest level for human abilities supposed to be top tier? Seeing my confusion, Situ Shurbai explained that no matter how powerful a human's ability was, an awakener could only possess one talent in their entire life. Infinite grade was different. It removed the limit on the number of talents and allowed new ones to awaken continuously. What truly intrigued him was whether his own infinite grade talent, Way of the Other, could replicate my infinite grade talent, Contract Gem. Of course, he wouldn't test it for free. No matter the outcome, he promised to give me a reward and answer all of my questions. Before I could respond, Situ Shurbai presented a gift containing a golden bracelet. You're free to refuse, but at least take a look at my sincerity. This bracelet is called Golden Vault. It's an old piece of equipment I used often. It seals a skill called storage. You should know what that implies. Gazing at the radiant bracelet, I couldn't help but say, "Sir Situ, you're far too generous." After all, storage space was exactly what I needed. I accepted immediately. Situ Shurbai told me to extend my hand. In the next moment, a deep blue energy emerged and wrapped around my palm. After some time passed, he let out a quiet sigh. I asked in confusion, "That's it?" Situ Shurbai said it was over. He couldn't replicate my ability, nor could he copy any of its derived talents. "It seems you're truly special." He then pushed the golden bracelet toward me. "From now on, it's yours." After thanking Situ Shurbai, I took the golden bracelet and began appraising it. What I saw next was disturbing. A woman, her body covered in blood, tightly bound in place. Molten gold was poured over her as several awakeners activated their abilities around her. In the end, her body slowly melted away, leaving behind nothing but the bracelet. After witnessing how it was made, my expression grew heavy. Did that mean all special equipment was forged at the cost of human lives? I voiced my concern to Situ Shurbai. "Sir Situ, are all special equipments created in such a cruel way?" Situ Shurbai replied, "For 200 years, this has been the norm. Even though it's now strictly forbidden, some still continue in secret. I once intended to destroy it, but if you can use it to punish evil and uphold justice, perhaps the souls bound to it may finally rest. I couldn't help but ask, then what was Pearl City like 200 years ago? Was life really treated so cheaply everywhere? Situ Shirbai confirmed it. 2 centuries ago, Pearl City was ruled by the beast-taming Zhu family. Back then, everyone in the city was a slave of the Zhu family, with no future and no hope. Men worked day and night, yet earned barely enough food to survive. Women with even a hint of beauty were selected as servants, becoming playthings for decadent youths. Children were gathered together and indoctrinated day and night with loyalty to the Zhu family. As for the elderly who could no longer work, they were used as feed for the Zhu family's tamed mutated beasts. In that era, any awakener either became a controlled slave or raw material for crafting equipment. The Zhu family's countless atrocities eventually drove capable individuals to secretly gather strength and overthrow their rule together. Situ Shirbai then asked if I had any other questions. I finally asked what had long been on my mind. Sir Situ, with your strength, why don't you personally deal with the Moon Prince and free this city once more? Upon hearing this, Situ Shirbai activated his talent, encrypted communication, and explained that it wasn't a matter of unwillingness, but impossibility. You might think Pearl City's defenses are weak, even allowing infiltration by the Tianchong Fox, but that assumption is wrong. In truth, Pearl City's defense system is extremely robust. The investigation team operates outside the city, surveying and driving off mutated beasts. Near the city gates, the cleanup squad carries out covert eliminations. Most importantly, the city is protected by a king-grade artifact known as Sun Moon Pearl. Within its domain, all beings are forcibly suppressed to level 40 or below. In other words, even if a king-level mutated beast were to invade, it would be forcibly suppressed to top tier, and he is unquestionably the strongest among them. Yet Situ Shirbai suddenly let out a sigh. But now, I stood up and said, Elder Bai, you mean there's a traitor inside the city? Situ Shirbai praised my insight. After the city lord went missing, aside from him, only the remnants of the beast-taming Zhu family know how to operate the artifact. Hearing this, rage surged within me. So the Zhu family shut down the Sun Moon Pearl and let the Tianchong Fox in? And the recent mutated beast riots, those were their doing too? Why weren't those scum completely wiped out back then? Situ Shirbai sighed. After overthrowing the Zhu family, they had tried to purge the remnants, but weeds are never so easily eradicated, especially when the Zhu family had controlled Pearl City for centuries. Indeed, there were far too many unanswered questions about this invasion. Is the city lord alive or dead? What abilities does the Tianchong Fox King possess? Without answers, nothing could move forward. Situ Shirbai had to act with extreme caution. If even he fell into the enemy's trap and died, Pearl City would truly be beyond saving. No matter how much the Moon Prince provoked and slaughtered others, anyone could lose control, except Situ Shirbai, the city's final trump card. Then Situ Shirbai spoke. Although I can't replicate your ability, we need you. Zhang Ping, are you willing to join the cleanup squad? I clasped his hand without hesitation and agreed. Meanwhile, back at the Iron Soul blacksmith shop, the proprietress was using the lull to repair equipment. Wang Jimin couldn't hide her worry. It's been days. I don't know when Zhang Ping will be back. The proprietress teased her immediately. It's only been a few days apart, and you already miss him? No wonder you've been so distracted. Blushing, Wang Jimin denied it, saying she just wasn't used to training without guidance and was worried whether Zhang Ping might run into danger outside the city. Seeing her shy reaction, the proprietress chuckled. Look at you, acting like a newlywed, still saying you don't think about him every day. After the teasing, she reassured her seriously. The villages and high-risk mutated beast zones outside the city were all marked. As long as Zhang Ping didn't wander into those areas, he should be relatively safe. Wang Jimin looked curious. So there are villages outside Pearl City? The proprietress nodded. Of course there are, but most of them are closed off and backward. Some even worship mutated beasts as gods. If you ever encounter such villages in the wild, it's best to avoid them. If you're caught, you could end up as a slave or a sacrifice. Wang Jimin found it hard to believe. But we're all human. Shouldn't they be reasonable? The proprietress instantly put on a frightening expression. They're not normal people at all. Out there, the most dangerous things aren't mutated beasts. It's those savages. She added that they like wearing eerie masks, silently appearing behind you, then abducting you. At that moment, a shadow appeared behind her. Panicking, Wang Jimin pointed behind her. Boss, you don't mean someone like that, do you? The proprietress glanced back. Yeah, pretty much like that. Then she realized the shadow was real. Startled, Wang Jimin turned to run. That shadow was me, testing my new ability. The next instant, the proprietress launched a high kick. The unexpected blow nearly sent me straight to the afterlife. I forcefully ignored the pain and groaned, "Boss, that was brutal." She pulled Wang Jimin behind her and demanded, "Who are you?" My mask slowly dissolved. Trembling, I said, "It's me." Seeing it was me, both of them went silent. The proprietress pulled me into a hug. "You brat," coming back without a word and pretending to be a ghost. I sighed. "I just got back and heard you talking about savage villages." I was trying to match the mood, didn't expect a flying kick. She asked if my training was over. I said yes. I'd be staying in the city to stabilize my strength. She said that worked out well. She found a lead on Shan Shan and planned to head outside the city, asking me to look after Uncle Lu. Then she added teasingly, "Someone's been waiting every day. I won't get in the way." Blushing, Wang Jimin hurried off, saying it was late and she needed a rest. But she suddenly stopped at the doorway. "Zhang Ping, I'm really glad you came back safe." I waved goodbye. Her words made me feel, for the first time since coming here, like I was home. Just then, Uncle Lu appeared behind me. "She's already inside. What are you grinning about?" Before I could answer, he told me to go find the proprietress tomorrow morning and say he was gravely ill, so she wouldn't leave the city. Seeing my confusion, Uncle Lu knocked my head, saying he wasn't sick or senile. It was all an act. Shan Shan had been missing too long. He feared the worst, and worried Xiao Chong might also be in danger if she kept investigating. That girl's too emotional. Once she's attached, she won't stop thinking it through. He then said I had real talent in forging. Since the proprietress wasn't strong in that area, he'd teach me proper kneading forge techniques over the next few days. I replied firmly, "I won't let you down, Uncle Lu." Back in my room, I was about to rest, when I faintly heard Su Jingyao's voice. "Stay strong, Zhang Ping. I'll be waiting." After Uncle Lu taught me the true kneading forge technique, I applied it to the nether mist, further strengthening my control over it. Just as Uncle Lu predicted, the proprietress did not leave the city. Wang Jimin successfully mastered the Ape King form, one of the first 3 techniques. That night, I was certain I had truly heard Su Jingyao's voice. So I asked Sidhu Shurbai whether any Sky-Ever Fox disguises still remained near the forge. The answer was clear. Everything had already been cleaned up. There couldn't possibly be a single Sky-Ever Fox left in our area. But if it wasn't something the Wind Whisperer detected, then what was it? I kept returning to one possibility. Su Jingyao might not be truly dead, but alive in another form. To find the truth, I would have to tear off the Sky-Ever Fox's mask with my own hands. Meanwhile, outside the Su family residence, a man skillfully pried at the door with an iron bar. Strangely, the girl sleeping inside showed no reaction at all. It turned out he had already drugged her in advance. He had long heard that the Su family's daughter was voluptuous and fair-skinned. Just as he was about to make his move, a cold voice suddenly called his name from behind. Zheng Xiaofan froze. "Who's there?" The black mist ignored him. Zheng Xiaofan. Nickname, Short-Leg Teddy. Height, 1.5 meters. Twisted and vulgar. Rejected by women. Your mind warped over time. Countless victims over 10 years. "I'm here to end you." Sweat poured down his face. Everyone in the Su household should have been drugged. So what was this thing? A man or a ghost? He tried to flee. A pitch-black rod pierced his calf. He collapsed to the ground. As a shadow closed in, Zheng Xiaofan lost control. At the same time, my nether mist reserve surged. The overwhelming terror broke him completely. He passed out cold. I muttered, "So much for a hardened serial offender." With that, my first mission after joining the cleanup team was complete. All that remained was to hand him over. I then identified him. Mid-tier awakened, level 13. Talent: pharmaceutical mastery, able to analyze medicinal properties and compound drugs. Then the footage of his crimes began to replay. A woman lay on the ground, begging him to spare her daughter. But Zhang Xiaofan kicked her away. Blame your husband for dying too early. That's why I set my sights on you. A patrol officer who kept talking about defending Pearl City to the death. Well, he really died, didn't he? Absolutely laughable. Then Zhang Xiaofan grabbed the girl off the ground and said he was actually grateful to him. After all, he left the two of you to us. Once I'm done having my fun, I'll send your whole family to reunite. My way of repaying him. More victims appeared one after another. After watching the playback, I was deeply shaken. By then, Zhang Xiaofan had already woken up. Seeing me staring at his mask, he quickly scattered the powder from his pocket at me. Who the hell are you ruining my fun? This amount is enough to knock out a large mutated beast. Once you're asleep, I'll take my time with you. But when the dust settled, I was completely unharmed. Seeing it had no effect, Zhang Xiaofan broke into a cold sweat. Did the rain make it useless? Before he could think further, a blade cut off his hand. Zhang Xiaofan screamed in agony, staring at me in terror. That strike was for the mother who gave her life to protect her daughter. That strike was for the girl who refused to yield even unto death. That strike was to honor the patrol hero. As I swung my blade for each victim, Zhang Xiaofan collapsed completely, able only to crawl and wail. You're crazy. You're a lunatic. I smiled. With today's medicine, as long as you get treated in time, you'll live. I'll give you one chance. If you can make it out the front door, I'll spare you. At those words, a glimmer lit his eyes. Enduring the pain, he clenched his teeth and crawled forward. Once I recover, I'll skin you alive. I can't die here. There are still plenty of beautiful women I haven't had yet. Desire drowned out the pain. For him, opening that door meant freedom. His hand could never reach the doorknob. His legs had already been crippled. Overwhelmed by despair and rage, he could only pound the door in futile fury. I was so close. Seeing he was at his limit, I stepped closer and said coldly, I gave you a chance, and you still wasted it. Hearing this, Zhang Xiaofan completely broke down. I casually raised my hand, and an invisible great blade appeared, cleaving him in two. Immediately, a system notification popped up. Due to defeating an enemy above your level, all attributes increased by 1. Logically, I should have been happy. I did the right thing and gained stats, but I felt no joy at all. I once thought that eliminating the Tianchong Fox would restore peace to Pearl City, but now I wondered, are scum like Zhang Xiaofan really worth saving? After a brief reflection, my thoughts became clear. Those who stray from morality and justice must pay for their crimes. At that moment, the Wind Whisper talent suddenly activated and a voice drilled into my ear. Are you sure you're at Hanhai Academy? Today is a special day. Find a chance and take them away. I immediately went on alert. Another one like Zhang Xiaofan? Without delay, I pulled out a jade pendant. I reported to the captain. The flower thief mission was complete, and I relayed exactly what the Wind Whisper talent had detected. Back at headquarters, Situ Shurbai heard this and immediately signaled to Manny behind him. She swiftly began searching Tianfu, but sensed nothing at all. Looks like someone has set up a barrier. Realizing the opponent was no ordinary figure, Situ Shurbai ordered me to head to the scene at once and said he would immediately contact Lu Sishan for backup. After receiving the order, I immediately sprinted toward Hanhai Academy. At the same time, a crimson barrier had already risen inside the academy. 3 mysterious figures in black were sneaking around the grounds, searching for something. One of them couldn't help complaining, "We've been looking for 2.5 minutes already. Where did Chen Shuili hide that woman?" The next second, another black-clad man's face changed. "Boss, this is bad. Someone has entered the barrier." At those words, the fat man at the rear panicked. Were our actions exposed? The white-haired leader tried to appear calm, but tension crept into his heart. He kept urging them, "Hurry up. Time's running out. Find her no matter what." Meanwhile, I finally arrived at Hanhai Academy. At the entrance, I saw the dragon-shaped statue. Without hesitation, I cast identification on it. After several attempts, I confirmed it was an epic gray dragon sealing stone. When four are placed at the designated positions, they form a dragon-breaking suppression barrier capable of covering and dismantling most barriers. Images related to the dragon sealing stone surfaced before my eyes. Rotating stone plates mercilessly crushing countless awakeners. The blood squeezed out flowed through a strange fissure, slowly turning into a black liquid that radiated ominous energy. As the black liquid poured over it, the black dragon coiled around the stone gradually lit up until its eyes were dyed blood red. I was shocked. This required human sacrifice. Wasn't this thing banned from civilian possession long ago? Those black-clad men didn't look like members of the three major organizations. Could they be remnants of the Zhu family? But they had been jointly overthrown 200 years ago. Yet they had somehow lured the Tianchong Fox back into Pearl City. The move made no sense. What scheme were they plotting? Perhaps this operation would reveal it. Just then, a sound came from a nearby window. I immediately activated the Nightwalker skill and vanished into the shadows. Before long, several figures climbed out through the window, one of them carrying a girl over his shoulder. After scanning the area and finding no trace of me, the white-haired man assumed I had left. He ordered his men to extinguish their lanterns to conceal their presence. He himself then went to retrieve the dragon sealing stone. Seizing the moment, I activated identification and reported to the law guard, confirming the enemies were indeed remnants of the Zhu family. I then identified the lanterns in their hands. Items called Nightingale lanterns that conceal all aura. No wonder I hadn't sensed them earlier, but fortunately, their energy was nearly depleted. Next, I focused on the kidnapped girl. The identification result stunned me. She possessed a terrifying 12-star potential, and her talent, Holy Mother's Blood, was absurd. It not only increased affinity with all life forms, but could also turn mutated beasts into fanatical followers, essentially an upgraded version of my contract gem. Who was the Zhu family trying to control with it? No matter what, the girl was innocent. I couldn't let their scheme succeed. The next second, they vanished from my sight. My identification was cut off as well. I immediately contacted Manny to track their movements. Manny quickly told me they were heading out of the city, but at their speed, Lu Sison probably wouldn't make it in time. There was no time left to hesitate, so I decided to stall them on my own. After hearing this, Situ Shurbai instructed me to ensure my own safety above all else. Moments later, the remnants of the Zhu family were fleeing Pearl City at full speed. Suddenly, the white-haired man sensed movement in the bushes ahead. The next instant, a wolf shrouded in black mist burst out. They quickly recognized it as a mist-mutated beast, confused as to why such a creature would appear in Pearl City. What they couldn't imagine was that this Wolf King was actually me, disguised using the living face forging technique. As long as I wasn't exposed by the white-haired man's identification, I still had a chance. Before I could act, the white-haired man launched identification on me first. I immediately released a mist attack, forcibly interrupting his scan. Then I leapt forward, lunging at him with full force. His reaction was lightning fast. He dodged my attack and shouted, "Huang San, hypnotize it now." The fat man beside him instantly activated his hypnosis skill. Pink light glowed in his eyes as he ordered me to stop. What he didn't know was that my mental power was limitless, immune to all control and illusions. Still, I decided to play along. Pretending to be controlled, I slowly approached them. Thinking the hypnosis had worked, the fat man reached out to touch me. At that moment, I struck, baring my fangs and tearing into his throat, ending his life instantly. The remaining two were horrified. The green-haired man immediately activated telekinesis and hurled me away from the corpse. By then, I had reached level 9, and my contract gem had risen to level 6. All I needed to do now was stall the remaining two and wait for Cece's backup. Unexpectedly, the green-haired man activated telekinesis supergravity. A brutal gravitational force slammed down the next second. I was pinned to the ground, completely unable to move. Worse still, the white-haired man successfully identified my information. He learned I was from the cleanup squad, just a level 9 rookie daring to put on airs here. Since you're one of Situ Shurbai's people, we can't let you live. I forced myself to stay calm. searching for a way to break the deadlock. The situation grew even worse when the white-haired man pulled out an epic-grade longbow, drawing and knocking in one smooth motion. A single arrow knocked back my mist-formed wolf king. From that strike, I judged that the Zhu family's beast-taming strength relied largely on equipment. Though my body was crushed under supergravity, I could still manipulate the mist to attack. Their behavior puzzled me. Against my mist attacks, they didn't use telekinesis to knock them aside, choosing instead to evade. Before I could figure it out, another arrow flew at me. Seeing my mist energy running low, he quickly fired yet another shot. As I resisted, it dawned on me. Maybe it wasn't that they wouldn't deflect my attacks. It was that they couldn't. In the instant my focus slipped, the arrow was already upon me. I had no time to think and fought back desperately with the mist. At the same time, I quietly hid part of the mist underground. Finally, I formed several flying daggers and hurled them at the white-haired man. They were easily blocked. They thought I was merely making a dying struggle. But then, the mist that had been lying in wait underground surged up, trapping them tightly. You don't deflect my attacks because you need your hands aimed at me to use telekinesis, right? Seal your hands and telekinesis fails. I closed in quickly, planning to take out the telekinetic first. The white-haired man's face changed, and I condensed my remaining mist into a dagger, stabbing straight toward Huang San. To my surprise, Huang San grabbed my hand. He had just inflicted damage on himself with telekinesis, forcibly controlling his right hand and breaking free of the mist. Now, with a feral grin, Huang San moved to cripple one of my hands. At the same time, my mist lost its restraining effect on them. Just as the two thought I was out of options, I made a snap decision and released all the flames stored within the fire bearer at once. Seeing this, Huang San raised his hand and blasted me away. The white-haired man seized the chance and fired an arrow at me. With my mist defense gone, I could only take it head-on. To my surprise, their clothes were actually fire-resistant. The two stopped wasting words and prepared to finish me off. Yet I wasn't panicked at all because I knew the timing was right. They thought I meant my own death was imminent. The moment my words fell, a familiar fluctuation of water element energy arrived. In the blink of an eye, a sharp water blade pierced through Huang San's chest. At the same time, the white-haired man's arrow shot straight toward me. My pupils shrank sharply at the sight. I twisted aside in a hurry, but my shoulder was still hit. Seeing Huang San fall, the white-haired man finally realized my reinforcements had arrived, but it was already too late. Cece was right behind him. The white-haired man hurriedly raised his bow to block Cece's ice arrow. After just one exchange, he was forced back by her. Weapon in hand, Cece pressed the attack, giving him no chance to counter. He knew that if this dragged on, he would die here. Without hesitation, he pulled out another piece of epic-grade equipment. He swiftly slipped a ring onto his finger and activated a summoning skill. Cece frowned, unsure what he was doing. Suddenly, a violent bolt of lightning descended from the sky. Where it struck, the ground instantly cracked and collapsed. Fortunately, Lu Sison reacted in time and pulled me out of the blast zone. Sadly, the remnants of the Zhu family escaped capture. Seeing how exhausted I was, Lu Sison couldn't continue the pursuit. At that moment, Manny urgently transmitted a message to Lu Sison, telling her to bring me back to Pearl City immediately. The illusory light canopy had been breached. Elsewhere, Luo Xiu also sensed that something was wrong. She summoned Huang Ziming and asked him gravely how the matter of gathering mutated beasts outside the city was progressing. Huang Ziming quickly bowed and replied that everything was ready. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck outside the city, and even the city lord's manor thousands of miles away felt the tremor. This struck Luo Xiu as strange. Huang Ziming recognized it at once. It was Myriad Thunder Summon. He thought to himself that Zhu Zijuan's group must be in trouble, and that this fox had noticed it. He then hastily said, "It's probably just thunder." Luo Xiu coldly demanded whether he had noticed anything unusual. The oppressive pressure made Huang Ziming uneasy, but he still forced himself to say no. Yet the sharp-eyed Luo Xiu caught the subtle change in his expression. "Then why are you nervous?" Thinking quickly, Huang Ziming dropped to his knees and trembled as he explained that he had feared thunder since childhood, but Luo Shiyu frowned in displeasure. Useless. Yet this failed to dispel Luo Shiyu's suspicion. The sound had clearly come from inside the city, yet she could see nothing, just like last time. Back then, that person had been severely wounded by her, mortally so, yet vanished completely in the blink of an eye around a corner, to escape so openly under her watch, and with human illusions unable to affect her. There was only one possibility. The entire city was shrouded in a high-level misdirection. Pearl City itself was a disguise. With that conclusion, Luo Shiyu expanded her domain. The tails behind her elongated rapidly, spreading to envelop Pearl City as the illusory light canopy began to fade. Meanwhile, Cece was growing anxious. Where had the girl from Hanhai Academy gone? Though she didn't know what was happening, she could clearly feel the canopy dissolving. Enduring the pain, I told Cece, use the Nightingale lantern and leave. At the same time, multiple eyes suddenly appeared in the sky. It was Luo Shiyu, observing every movement across the city. Soon, she detected something amiss through her domain. A cloaked figure in yellow was fleeing the city, carrying the saint on his back. Someone leaving the city at this hour was definitely suspicious. Hearing this, Huang Ziming broke into a cold sweat. Damn it, she's noticed. He was about to stall Luo Shiyu with words, but she moved first, rushing straight toward the target. Elsewhere, Huang San reported their encounter to his companions. The cleanup squad had a hidden operative in the city named Zhang Ping. His appearance exposed the operation. The accomplices were eliminated, and when cleanup squad reinforcements arrived, Huang San was forced to escape using Myriad Thunder Summon. The white-haired man acknowledged this and said the priority was to get the saint out of the city. Suddenly, a scream rang out from the communication token. All they caught was the cloaked man shouting Luo Shiyu's name. The white-haired man panicked. What happened? Respond, Zhu Zijuan. At that moment, Huang Ziming finally arrived and reported grimly that the plan had failed. Zhu Zijuan had been dealt with by the fox. Furious, the white-haired man roared. Were all these years of effort for nothing? But Huang Ziming, now calm, shook his head. The saint is the nemesis of the Tianchong fox. She's definitely alive. Since Luo Shiyu couldn't kill her, she'll bring her back to the city Lord's Manor. Inside the manor, there's a secret passage leading directly out of the city. At present, I'm the only one who knows about it. Your task is to send mutated beasts through that passage and create trouble for the fox. I'll take advantage of the chaos to extract the saint. The purple-haired man interrupted. That sounds easy for you to say. With the Moon Prince guarding the manor, what can a handful of mutated beasts really do? Huang Ziming replied that since Luo Shiyu was monitoring the entire city and would personally intervene at any disturbance, they could exploit the Zhangping incident involving the cleanup squad. By sending elites to attack Zhangping at the blacksmith shop, they would draw both the cleanup squad and the Moon Prince. Then, while the two sides clashed, they would unleash the mutated beasts on the city lord's manor and catch them off guard. This battle meant openly turning against the Tianchong fox. Failure was not an option. Before leaving, Huang Ziming warned them not to expose his identity during the operation. The purple-haired man nodded, as expected of someone who carries the Zhu bloodline. The saint is in your hands, Huang Ziming. Meanwhile, I woke from unconsciousness and saw Cece's face the moment I opened my eyes. She gently asked if I still felt unwell. Looking around at the unfamiliar surroundings, I asked where we were. Cece explained that this was the cleanup squad base. They had brought me here due to the emergency. Then I noticed a man lying helplessly in the neighboring bed. I hadn't expected Captain Jinbo to be so badly injured by Luo Shiyu. Just then, Su Jie walked over. Seeing that I was mostly fine, she praised me. Facing 3 opponents more than 10 levels higher alone, and even killing one. How did you manage that? Cece introduced her. This is Su Jie. I mentioned her before. Her ability is Sunlight Charge. She treated your injuries. I quickly downplayed it as luck and thanked her, saying I would have died countless times without her help. Su Jie waved it off, saying it was nothing and that she wasn't maintaining the canopy anymore anyway. She then got straight to the point. Since I was awake, I should meet everyone. They needed a fuller report on last night. Elsewhere, Manny was overwhelmed. Why is there always so much work? Captain, I'm applying for leave. Chen Luowei immediately seconded the motion. Seeing her awake, Manny's eyes lit up, ready to dump some work on her. The next second, Chen Luowei fell asleep on the spot. Watching her relaxed posture, Manny, who was handling everything alone, exploded. She started furiously pounding Chen Luowei. Sidhu Shirbai could only sigh helplessly. With headquarters short-staffed, they had no choice but to endure it for now. At that moment, Cece and I entered the conference room. Su Jie offered to help share the workload, and Manny hugged her happily, saying only Su Jie truly understood her pain. The meeting began. Sidhu Shirbai said that although we previously believed the Zhu family had allied with the Tianchong Fox, the evidence suggested otherwise. The Zhu subordinates possessed barriers capable of shielded detection. They clearly knew about the illusory light canopy, yet never informed the Tianchong Fox, meaning they intended to exploit it. Submission has never been the Zhu family style, but since they couldn't oppose the Tianchong Fox directly, the girl taken from Hanhai Academy was likely the key. Records show that Academy head Chen Shuili had only one son, Chen Haowen, who died 14 years ago and never married. Yet that same year, Chen Shuili publicly claimed to have a granddaughter named Chen Junting. Investigations suggest she isn't from Pearl City and likely came from an outer village. Chen Shuili kept her completely isolated. Her citizen file was spotless, with no record of any awakened ability. I said I knew her ability. I had used identification on her before. It was called Holy Mother's Blood. Sidhu Shirbai was startled. Outside the city? Could it be the Saint Ancestor Village? He quickly dismissed the thought. It seemed far too coincidental. Meanwhile, inside the city lord's manor, Luo Shiyu was having afternoon tea with Chen Junting. Unable to see through the illusion, Chen Junting thought it was just a visit with a big sister. This place is huge. Do you live here all the time? Luo Shiyu responded curtly, her expression cold, misreading her mood as discomfort. Chen Junting kindly poured her tea. Grandpa said eating helps when you're unhappy. Here, sister. Killing intent flared in Luo Shiyu's eyes. You're courting death. In the next instant, a foxtail stabbed straight toward Chen Junting. At the critical moment, a faint golden light flashed through Chen Junting's pupils. Her talent, Holy Mother's Blood, had activated on its own. Yet Chen Junting herself was completely unaware, calmly continuing to pour tea. Seeing Luo Shiyu standing motionless, she cheerfully picked up a cookie. Sister, have a cookie. I just tried it. It's really good. As she spoke, she stuffed the cookie straight into Luo Shiyu's mouth. Luo Shiyu was deeply puzzled. Why had she been unable to strike just now? At that moment, Chen Junting took a small sip of tea. The next second, she frowned in disgust. This tea tastes awful. Whoever brewed, it clearly knows nothing about tea. No wonder it put you in a bad mood. She then picked up the teapot on her own. Wait here, sister. I'll brew a better pot. Luo Shiyu silently watched her every move, unable to understand why she had felt a trace of guilt. After a brief reflection, she could only console herself. As a noble heavenly fox prince, there couldn't possibly be a problem. That meant the issue lay with this human. Just who was this child? Meanwhile, in the cleanup squad training room, Lu Sishan was explaining new techniques to me. Both nethermist and water elements could be controlled by will and freely change form. The only difference was that water could be reused, while nethermist was a one-time resource. If solid nethermist could be converted into a phantasmal state, it could shift freely between gas, liquid, and solid, just like water. My advantage, however, was that I didn't need a gourd to store water elements. At that moment, Lu Sishan suddenly appeared in front of me. She struck out with a palm, and before I could react, I was sent flying. Thanks to the cushioning effect of nethermist, I could barely stabilize myself. Before I could catch my breath, she leapt into the air and unleashed a blizzard, shouting, "Even if you can turn fear into nethermist, durability is still your fatal weakness." I spiked rain down. I dodged with everything I had, convinced I'd avoided every threat. The next instant, the shattered ice beneath my feet melted at high speed. locking me firmly in place. Lu Sisan walked toward me. If your opponent feels no fear, your nether mist will run out quickly. I smiled calmly. Then all I need is an attack strong enough to end it in one blow. As the words left my mouth, a dagger formed from nether mist appeared above her head. Lu Sisan immediately cast a water prison, preparing to take the blow head-on. To her surprise, the dagger pierced straight through the water prison. In an instant, it was right in front of her. Seeing how troublesome I was, she speculated that my nethermist mutated beast was likely descended from a king-tier lineage. That, combined with a special trait, allowed me to deal damage across tiers. Still, she shook her head slightly. Your combat experience is lacking. In a real fight to the death, you'd already be done. As I wondered what she meant by done, the water restraining me suddenly began to boil. Lu Sisan said gravely, "You need to fully understand your abilities. Water can freeze or heat. Those changes are decisive in battle." While she was explaining, I quietly released a cluster of nethermist. I shaped it into a spider and held it out in front of her. As expected, her fear of insects instantly granted me 100 points of nethermist. But in a moment of carelessness, I swallowed the water she had splashed out. Lu Sisan's face turned deathly pale. She grabbed my throat, trying to force the water out. It was pure water laced with deadly toxins. About 2.5 minutes later, my entire body went limp. Looking down, I realized my pants had somehow fallen off. My body had become transparent and clear, like water itself. I immediately used identification and was shocked to discover I had gained 2 new talents. Devourer of the Unusual. When consuming special items, there is a 10% chance to obtain their special physique. Pure Water Body. Grants resistance to all physical attacks. At the same time, Lu Sisan anxiously asked Zhang Ping if I might have been poisoned and melted. I told her not to worry. I just needed some time to return to normal. I then examined my changes. Since Nethermist Body and Pure Water Body shared similarities, their transformation abilities should be comparable. Sure enough, in the next moment, my body turned into a pool of transparent liquid. I could not only transform into a humanoid form made of water, but even turn into a slime with ease. When I returned to my original form, Lu Sisan's face instantly flushed red. She quickly turned away and told me to get dressed first. Then she asked what had just happened. I explained that drinking the pure water had triggered the awakening of the pure water body. Lu Sisan was stunned. Is this the potential of an infinite tier talent? To awaken the body water element users dream of so easily. At that moment, Lu Sisan received an urgent alert. The Iron Soul Blacksmith Shop was under attack and needed immediate support. I asked to go as well. Wang Jimin and the others were in danger. I couldn't sit idle. Besides, having just awakened the pure water body, even a trap wouldn't stop me. Knowing she couldn't stop me, Lu Sisan brought me along. We soon arrived at the shop, where assassin corpses littered the ground. My heart sank. I searched frantically, calling out, until a weak response came from a corner. There, I found the shop owner badly injured. I rushed forward to help her. She weakly pointed elsewhere, saying Uncle Lu and Wang Jimin were also hurt. Lu Sisan ran out from the hall at that moment. She told me to stay with the owner while she checked on the others. Seeing that the owner's left arm had been severed by the assassins, my heart jolted, and I treated her wound immediately. Seeing my concern, she forced a smile. It's fine, just an arm. Uncle Lu and Wang Jimin were soon carried out on stretchers. Lu Sisan explained they were only unconscious, not in mortal danger. We decided to take them out of the city for treatment. The owner asked worriedly if we had provoked someone powerful. The assassins seemed to be after me. I forced a smile and reassured her I'd handle it. Lu Sisan arranged for them to be sent to a safe house outside the city. I knew full well the one who wanted me dead in Pearl City was likely the beast-taming Zhu family. At that moment, my wind whisper talent caught Luo Shiyu's voice. I sensed she was nearby. She had locked onto me. The next second, an attack slammed down from above. I reacted instantly, grabbing Lu Sisan and dodging aside. Turning back, I saw a massive crater in the ground. Luo Shiyu appeared atop the wall, shock on her face that I had sensed her attack in advance. Lu Sishan was baffled. This operation had been highly confidential. I suspected Pearl City had long been under her surveillance. I pretended ignorance of her true identity, chatting casually while activating identification, but the distance was too great. Knowing delay would only worsen things, Lu Sishan decided to hold Luo Shiyu back and let me escape. She unleashed a blizzard, trying to restrict Luo Shiyu's movement. But the ice shards couldn't even reach her. From this, Luo Shiyu realized her disguise had been exposed. Convinced that recent incidents involving her kin were linked to Zhang Ping, she waved her hand lightly. A blood-red vortex appeared behind Lu Sishan. In an instant, Luo Shiyu's attack surged forward. Despite Lu Sishan's full effort, her defense shattered immediately. Luo Shiyu knew Lu Sishan couldn't see through illusions. She was only reacting to shifts in cold air. She launched attack after attack. Let's see how you defend this time. Cold surged from all directions, throwing Lu Sishan into disarray. Luo Shiyu's illusions had no effect on me. I shouted upper left. Lu Sishan felt a surge of relief. Without me, she would have been dead. Guided by my precise calls, she not only dodged the attacks, but even countered them. Luo Shiyu couldn't understand how I saw through her illusions, but decided to kill me first. I dodged with everything I had, avoiding every strike. Luo Shiyu finally confirmed it. I was the one who could see through the Tianchong Fox's disguise. She regretted not killing me earlier. Seeing me unable to keep calling out positions, she seized the opening and struck at Lu Sishan. At the critical moment, I rushed in and raised Nethermist defenses. Senior, that temper. Did you just get dumped? Luo Shiyu laughed despite herself. She then released her king-tier aura. Zhang Ping, you've hidden yourself well. Today is your death. Let's see you block 3,000 of my tails. As expected, the shield Lu Sishan and I formed lasted only 0.1 seconds. My Nethermist reserves dropped by 50%, then to 30% at 0.3 seconds. Luo Shiyu smirked. Survive 1 second, and you win. Watching my reserves plummet. At the brink of death, a clone of humanity's strongest, Situ Shirbai, appeared. He said gravely, Zhang Ping, make it count. I can give you only one chance.